Okay. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics as Known Classics. This is episode number 1270 and Doubleshot number 1164. I have two X-Men trades. This first one is a revival of an old series from the 80s, which was revived a couple years ago, though it got quickly canceled. What series is it? Fallen Angels by Brian Hill. Yes. This might be called Volume 1. This series was canceled 6 issues. After reading this, I can see why. There's not a lot of stuff that happens in here. It's probably by far, out of all the books basically started with the new initiative, the On Deck initiative, this is by far the most least interesting one. You might think, oh cool, is that Psylocke on the cover? Is that Betsy Braddock? No. That is Kanawan, the Asian woman that Betsy Braddock, one of the times she apparently died, was possessing her body. And last I heard, she did have possession of this body, but Cora was not even alive. She was probably revived because probably because she has the same powers as fucking Psylocke. Yep. And, well, she's called Psylocke because, well, that's what she's basically referred to as. I also appreciate, though, that the artist put her in the classic 90s garb. Yeah, like, if you're, like, a comic fan, you love this look for Psylocke because it's Psylocke. This is the look what people are familiar with. Not the not the full bodysuit, barely shows anything, with the exception of her face. I think a lot of people didn't like that suit. That's probably the reason why that with Dawn of X they got rid of that suit. And switched this, though Betsy Braddock is now Captain Britain. Though she's not the only one, we also have the Kid Cable. Yes, this character from the Extermination miniseries, who was created by Ed Bronson. Yeah, a character that, unlike we kind of want people to friend with this character, and this character has some popularity. Kid Cable, I never heard of reception toward this character. My guess is it's probably overwhelmingly negative because of the fact he killed the original Cable. Yeah, he killed the old man Cable, the one people love so much. And he kills him. Oh, don't worry, he's alive. Strange enough, we have two Cables running around, and we have, well, not exactly two Psylocke because she took up the name Psylocke because Betsy Braddock is no longer Psylocke because she's Captain Britain now. And yet, apparently people at Marvel, like some high-ups, apparently can't have two Captain Americas or two Wolverines, but yeah, it's okay to have 5 people calling themselves Spider-Man and 2 Cables. This is okay, but 2 Wolverines? Oh no, can't have that. Can't have 2 Captain Americas. But, like, officially, currently, there's about 2 people named Spider-Man. Peter Parker, the original one, and Miles Morales, the second one. Do people have a problem with these characters? No, because they're popular. Kind of the same. Also, we also have 2 Hawkeyes, both of whom got their respective fan bases. We apparently have 2 Cables, and, well, technically both kind of the same person in a way, though. This is not Nate Gray. You're probably thinking, is that Nate Gray? No, it's not Nate Gray. Nate Gray, I'm not sure what the heck he's up to now, because it seems as though once this show started, he just completely disappeared. Also, we have Laura McKinley here, and she's still going by the name of X-23. Ugh. I've said time before that basically this, in my opinion, her going back to this code name is a step backwards in character development. Why? Because she made her own name as Wolverine. As a matter of fact, in the main X-Men book, she was restored to the identity of Wolverine. Because even Hickman realized, oh, this was bullcrap. Though she, Kid Cable, and Psylocke are not the only people who's cast this book. We also have, get this, you won't believe who else is the cast this book. And basically we have, oh, Mr. Sinister here. Yes, Mr. Sinister's here. He doesn't do very much at all. Nope. Yeah. There's not really like a lot of stuff that happens in this book. Oh yeah, we have some character for Conan. Conan Guan, I think that's her name. We have some for her, but Laura and Kid Cable, nope. They get virtually almost nothing to do. I mean, Laura's here because she's basically popular. Kid Cable because he's around. But my guess is people probably bought this title probably because Psylocke is here. Because Psylocke, I think she's got a big fan base. People love this character. Probably because of how hot she is. And in fact, she's just that damn good of a character. But once they read this book, like, yeah, we're not interested. So Marvel's like, okay, well, axe this book after 6 issues. By the way, there was no article coming out that said, oh yeah, this series got canceled. Yep, it got canceled. There's not a lot of stuff happens in here. It's like, oh, Connor find her own thing to do. Okay. The cast is interesting to say the least, but what about the artwork? The artwork is done by Sergei Kurowski, who actually is a pretty good artist. The cover art for these issues are done by Ashley Ritter, who does the first 3 issues in 5-6. So by David Nakama. And this is the interior artwork. It's not bad per se. Heck, this is artwork you all see in the cover as well. It's not terrible artwork. Oh no, it's not terrible. It's okay. I mean, the backgrounds look really good. I love the backgrounds. The faces are something else altogether. They look too smooth. Yes. I think that's probably what also was a turn off for the book was the artwork. The fact that faces look way too smooth. Yeah. To me, anyways, the series is just okay. It's not terrible. But I'm going to give this book roughly a 8 out of 10. That's the best I can give it. It's not a terrible series per se. I mean, I can kind of see why people didn't want to buy. People basically dropped this book after the first couple issues. Because the series probably for a lot of people was probably not that interesting at all. And it's strange though. All the rest of the books basically survived the first year no problem. But yeah, this book was the first book to get canceled. Yeah, the first one. And the place that we have Cable by Gary Duggan, which is doing really well. And Children of the Atom, which was heavily delayed. Like, my gosh, I have never seen a book at Marvel Comics. This is probably far the first book Marvel has published that has received this big of a delay since, like, for the start of a series. Not since Captain America White. Of course, with that one, like, the first issue came out one particular year, and the next issue didn't come out for about 5 or 6 years. It took that long for Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale to basically do this story. Yes. And after all the delays for X-Men, for the Children of the Atom series, which, like in the case of this one, it's basically an ongoing series version of a series. It's a revival of an old miniseries that was turned into an ongoing series. Yes, though in the case of Fallen Angels, the original miniseries was 8 issues. This is 6. Children of the Atom was also 8 issues. Though that mostly kind of explored a bit of the early history of the X-Men. Children of the Atom, I'm not sure what the premise is, but apparently this series was canceled to make room for that series in Cable. At least Cable's doing fine. Yeah, Cable's doing perfectly fine. Alright, moving on to a different series. We have the revival of... This is technically... Believe it or not, this book is actually a relaunch of a title. Yes, a relaunch. We have X-Force. You're probably thinking, wait, how is this one a relaunch? I mean, people probably get the fact that X-Book was a relaunch of the X-Men. That's fine. And of course you have Deadpool, but X-Force? Like, when was the series brought back? Believe it or not, this book was actually brought back It was brought back after the events of Extermination. That run ended after only 10 issues. It was brought back in 2018, lasting only 10 issues, and then hitting the restart button because of Dawn of X. Yep. That book was mostly the original classic lineup that Rob Liefeld assembled back in the 90s, with the Kid Cable taking place in the original one. By the way, is Cable in this book? Nope. X-Force is simply put, basically, like it's back to the original premise, being a Black Ops team. Though this time, it's a sanctioned Black Ops team assembled not by Cyclops, who assembled the last one that basically was associated with the X-Men. This one was assembled by Charles Xavier himself. Okay. The lineup is actually quite interesting. Some of these characters have had history with the X-Force before, like Wolverine and Domino. Yeah, these two have got a long history with X-Force. Yes, With Wolverine, he's been part of X-Force since the Chris Craig Cal run, though he missed the Size Superior and the other books, basically. He was part of mostly just the Commander Kenny X-Force run, and Chris and Craig Cal, he was part of that run. Colossus, because of the Cable and X-Force series. Domino is a long-time member of X-Force. Oh my gosh. She's by far the only person who's part of this X-Force lineup who's actually part of this group back when they first started back in the 90s. And she's always been associated with X-Force. Now, the other members are, get this. Okay, we have Quinta Quintire, Kid Omega. This is by far the third or fourth group series, and part of the last group we was part of was the book with the really, really bad artwork, Generation X. I showed this artwork to Scott Lipton. Even he agreed that the artwork for Generation X, the revived book, not the original book came out in the 90s. Oh no, nothing against that. Even he agreed the artwork was pretty good for that book. But the recent Generation X book, that book had atrocious artwork. Even he agreed with the reasoning, agreed with my opinion of why that series basically no one bought it. Because the artwork was so bad. Yes, because everyone looked like fucking horses. Yes, I don't know why in the world Marvel chose that artist to draw of Generation X. And that was the last book he was part of prior to this. Also part of this lineup, and this is quite strange, we also have Sage. You're probably thinking, who the heck is Sage? She is basically, her mutant power is that she's a computer program. She basically has the power of a computer, and she's a Chris Claremont character. She's popped up now and again since like the 90s. Her real name is Teresa, though she goes by Sage. We also have Black Tom Cassidy. Yes, a former X-Men villain. Part of X-Force. Not the first time this has happened, believe it or not. Oh no. This also happened in the Chris Craig Cal run, where Wolverine forced Vanisher join the roster, so this time is actually volunteer. At least Wolverine didn't have to blackmail somebody in order to join his X-Force team. We also have Jean Grey and Beast, which that is quite interesting. Yes, Beast has appeared in X-Force before, but him being associated with X-Force, that is interesting. Because these two have had zero association with X-Force. And so if you look at this cover, only like 3 people have had past association. Now, the first issue had something quite interesting happen with it. Basically, we had X-Force being assembled, and then at the end of the first issue, we have Charles Xavier getting assassinated. Like, wow, what a way the first issue ended with the assassination of Charles Xavier. Though it was actually a ruse. Yeah, it was later retconned. This was actually Phantom X posing as Charles Xavier. Yep, so they apparently had funeral for him. Though apparently, yep, he was perfectly fine. Yeah, it turns out this assassin was hired by a country who didn't like the X-Men very much. Yep, this book is written by Ben Percy, and one thing at least got praised by Ben Percy is that he has the Wolverine time, kind of filling the gap basically Wolverine is up to when he's not in this book. Yep, and this is only the first 6 issues of, I think this is X-Force Volume 6. Yeah, 6, because you had the first volume in the 90s, you had the second volume in around the early 2000s, the third volume was the Chris Craig Cal run, the fourth volume was done by Cy Spurrier, the fifth volume was by Ed Bronze, this one was done by Ben Percy, with artwork by, a couple different artists. You have Joshua Casera and Stefan Soruvia. Joshua Casera does the first 5 issues, 6 is done by, of course, Steven Savalia. Dustin Weaver does pretty much most of the issues. Yes, he does all 6 issues covers. Yeah, this is Dustin Weaver cover. And Edgar Durario does the co-artwork for issues 3 through 6. Oh, and by the way, Black Tom Cassidy is Charles Xavier's bodyguard in this book. Yeah, he's his bodyguard. And mostly they deal with somebody who's a bit racist. Well, basically very bigoted toward mutants. Though, basically, it's all like the dirty stuff, basically, that the X-Men don't want to get involved publicly. So X-Force, basically, their job is to deal with that. Now, of all these people, the most strangest... Now, here's the thing. I don't have a problem with a lot of people part of the group, but the one person who really doesn't fit here is Jean Grey. Like, I get the fact she's a telepath. I mean, Quinta Quintire, that's fine. I don't have a big of an issue he being there, but Jean Grey? Part of X-Force? Well, my guess is because her son was, well, let's just say her son, in a way, her quote-unquote son, Cable, was part of X-Force as well. So she figured out, okay, I'll join X-Force too because my son was part of it. Even though Cable is not technically her son, it's more like her stepson because her clone is the mother of the child. Though the writers of Marvel tend to forget that little factor when it comes to Cable. But this book is actually really good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. A lot better than Fallen Angels, believe it or not. I'm going to give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Damn good book. Yep. And I like the fact that this is the lineup itself, aside now Beast. Now you're probably asking, how do I feel about Beast joining X-Force? It's interesting to say the least. My only guess is the reason why that Beast is part of X-Force, and this is just my personal theory, because Hickman has got no plans for him the main title. So, okay, but about X-Force, something new. His talent's actually probably quite useful to the X-Force because they probably have to deal with stuff and need someone who's tech-savvy, and he's very tech-savvy. And plus, he's a genius, so why not? But having two telepaths on the team, that's quite interesting to say the least, because when it comes to telepaths and X-Force, there's not been a lot of history with telepaths with X-Force. Now you're probably asking, was there a telepath part of X-Force before? Yes, Cable. Though he's a low-level telepath, mind you. Yes, he's technically the only telepath the team has had the whole time. Well, technically, that is definitely true. Yeah. Well, all in all, great book. And, well, can't wait to review the second book, because I got that today, believe it or not. Yeah, I picked up today from Barnes & Noble. Yeah, so that's it. Still got a few more videos today. I'm hoping to do them today. Of course, my videos are going to be reviews for Dr. Stone, Fire Force, Yeshua Have the Princess, and Quintessence Quintuplets. Two of these ones basically are definitely coming out today, though I don't know what time because Death from Home didn't update. Probably because I don't know if they stopped doing that or not. They'll probably go back to simuldub. Maybe, I'm not sure because they have been simuldub since like last year, believe it or not. Because they're doing Dub from Home, and I've been enjoying seeing that schedule because it gives me a good idea exactly what dub is coming. So yeah, so until you see me in the next video, bye.